So one thing that I like to do when I start my week is actually starting by filling out my calendar with my available hours. So I just pull out my calendar here. You see, my calendar is kind of crazy because I have uh, all sorts of different agendas. So I have a daily routine agenda. I have a family agenda that I use on top of everything, and then I have all of my blocked hours in the calendar. This all helps me stay focused and helps me know when I'll have time to work and when I'm not going to be available. So what I do is I start by going to my resourcing, and I'm going to grab the hours that I'm resourced to each project and plot that into my calendar on another calendar that I use to control the hours that I have already used and the hours I have not used yet. So I have 17 and a half hours for Microsoft, 16 and a half hours for Credit Karma. So let's go. So what I'm going to do is I take the Saturday here and I start at midnight and I go pull it up to 17, what's that, 17 and a half, 17. So this is my Microsoft research hours, and they are going to be 17.5, and I use my time tracking calendar. So this doesn't show up on like every time someone looks up my calendar, they don't need to see this. So, and then I'll pull 16 and a half hours for Credit Karma, or CK for short. And then what I start by doing is I have all of these meetings scheduled, so I'm just going to subtract from this the hours that I already have scheduled for these projects. So for instance, I have half an hour of MSR calls here, half an hour here, I have 1 hour here, and half an hour here. So that's 1 hour, 2 hours, 2.5 hours that I already know I'm going to spend on meetings only for MSR. So we're going to reduce this from 17 and a half to 15 hours. So now I know I have 15 hours available to work on MSR. Same thing for Credit Karma. I know I have a half an hour on Tuesday and a half an hour on Friday. So I'm going to take 1 hour off. And now I have 15.5 hours. So what I go doing when I'm actually working on my day is the first thing on weeks where I know I can get more organized and I know I can just plot my time. What I start doing is I start by just filling out the blanks here. So for instance, I know that I am now working on an admin task that is recording the videos to my uh, blog post, right? So I'm using half an hour to do this, so I just use it for time tracking here. And what I'm going to do then is start by saying, okay, when I'm done with this, I'm going to use 1 hour to work on my MSR tasks here. So I'm not saying what tasks I'll be doing. I'm just saying I'm going to use 1 hour for this, and I'm going to use this half an hour between my lunchtime and my AFK time for working on the MSR as well. And then actually, I'm going to use all of my blocked out hours for the day for MSR today. So here. And I've already used half an hour here to work on MSR earlier. So what I go doing is I go filling out the blanks on my calendar, and then at the end of each day, I sum up. I actually go to Harvest to sum up how many hours I spent on each project after at the end of each day, after I logged all my hours to Harvest, I go there and I get the number of hours I spent for that day and I subtract it from this major column here. So this way, I have a visual indicator of how many hours I still have left on each project for the week. And I have a visual indicator here of when I'll be able to work and when I'm not going to be available. So that's what I do to start organizing my week so I don't get lost on my resourcing and so I have time to work on specific tasks when I'm required to. And then after this, of course, I'm going to start actually coding or working on documentation, on working on whatever I need to do for the day.